Hi friends, today I am going to explain about switch in Java. For handling conditional statements in Java, we have if-else, and for handling more and more conditional statements, we have nested if-else. But nested if-else is not recommended to use because it reduces readability. So to handle this requirement, we should go for switch. If we see the syntax of switch, we use switch keyword and expression inside the parenthesis. If the expression is equals to value 1, then the body under this case is being executed. If the expression is equal to value 2, then the body under case 2 is being executed. If no other value is being equal to expression, so the body under the default is being executed. So what is the type of this expression? Which types are allowed? Let's see. The allowed argument types for switch are byte, short, char, int until Java 1.4 version. But from 1.5 version onwards, enum type is also allowed. I'll explain in detail about enum in my future videos. And from 1.7 version onwards, string type also allowed. So now we can use any type as the argument. We can use these 6 types. We can use any one of these 6 type as the argument for switch case. So if you see the example, I have taken here int x is equal to 5 and switch off x. Here the expression x. So here x value is 5. So if we run this code, first case is being executed because the value of first case is 5. So the body under the first case is being executed. If I run the code, 5 is being printed as the output. If I take the value of x as 10, it goes with the second case. The value of second case is 10. So 10 and 10 is matched. So body under the case 2 is being executed. It outputs 10. And if I go with another value other than 5 and 10, here no value is being matched, so it go with the default case. So if I run the code, default case as the output. Yeah. And for using switch case, we have to follow some rules. So first rule, curly braces are mandatory except to switch everywhere curly braces are optional. So here if we see in this example, here curly braces are mandatory. So line number 4 and line number 13. These two braces are mandatory. If you remove these curly braces, it raises error because curly braces are mandatory for switch and curly braces for case and default are optional. Second, both case and default are optional. That is, an empty switch is a valid Java syntax. Here, both case and default are optional. If you remove these case and default, it is a valid switch. If I run the code, it returns nothing because it is an empty implementation of switch. And if you remove default also, it runs fine because default and case are optional. We can use either default or either case or we can use both. So I have removed default here. So if I run the code, it runs fine. And if I keep default and if I remove both the cases, now also it is valid. So if I run the code, it is valid. Code executes fine and it outputs as a default case because here the value of x is 15. No case is there to match with 15, so it outputs default. So our next rule is independent statements are not allowed inside switch. Inside switch, if we want to write a statement, we should write under case or default. Independent statements are not allowed. Like if I keep here system.out.println hello inside a switch independently, not under the default or case. So if I run this code, it is invalid. It raises error. So independent statements are not allowed under the switch. It raises a compile time error. So our next point is every case label should be compile time constant. That is constant expression. We should not use variables under the cases. For example, if we see this code, I have taken int a is equals to 10 and a is equals to 5, b is equals to 10. Switch off a. Under case 1, I have taken value 5. Under case 2, I have taken variable b. But variables are not allowed under cases. So if I run the code, gets error and it says constant expression required. Here b is variable, so constants are required. So if I take here 10, it runs fine. And if we take b as final, now it is valid. If I take b as final, it is valid because it is a compile time constant. If I run the code now, it, it works fine. So if it is a variable, if we use variable under the cases, it should be final. If it is not final, it raises an error. So our next rule is every case label should be in the range of switch argument type. If the argument of switch is byte, the range should be from -128 to plus 127. If the range is short, the range varies. If the range is int, the range varies. And here I have taken byte b is equals to 10. So every value under the cases should be in the byte range. That is 10 is in the byte range, 100 is in the byte range, but 500 is not in the byte range. So if we run this code, it raises an error. It says that incompatible types, possible lossy conversion from int to byte. Here 500 is int, so it expects byte here. If I give any value under the byte range, that is 99, if I run the code, now it is valid. So all the values under the cases should be in the range of argument type. Here argument type is byte, it should be in the range of -128 to plus 127. And our next rule is duplicate case labels are not allowed. In Java, under the switch, duplicate case labels are not allowed. For example, if you take this code, here I have taken byte x is equals to 10 and under the cases, in case 1 value is 97, under case 2 value is 10, under case 3 value is lowercase a. We know that the ASCII value of lowercase a is 97. So here the case 1 is 97 and case 3 also 97 because value of lowercase a is 97. So here we have taken duplicates. Whenever we run the code, it raises an error. It says the duplicate case label a. So duplicates are not allowed. If we take b here, now it is allowed because the value of b is 98. So it is allowed. Here we doesn't take any duplicates. We should not take duplicates under the case labels. Now let's see what is fall through inside switch. In Java, the fall through behavior in a switch statement occurs when a case does not have a break statement, allowing execution to continue into the next case until and unless it reaches break. For example, here in this example, if I remove break after case 2 and here I have taken x is equals to 10 and it matched with the case 2, the value of case 2 is 10. So it executes case 2. After case 2, there is no break. So it goes with the case 3 and it evaluates the body of case 3. So if I run the code, it outputs 10 and b. Both the cases are being executed because after 10, it doesn't get any break. So it goes with the next case. That is how fall through inside switch works. And the main advantage of fall through inside a switch is we can define common action for multiple cases. For example, if we see this example, grading example, here, if the grade is A, B or C, it prints passed. And if the grade is D or E, it prints failed. So It handles multiple cases with a single statement. So if I run the code, here I have taken grade B. So if I run the code, it outputs passed. And if we take here grade C, now also it outputs as passed because grade A, B, C is handled here and grade D, E is handled with the statement. If we provide any invalid grade, it is handled under the default. So in fall through inside switch, all the cases are being executed until and unless it reaches break. So if we give input A, it executes A, B, C. In C, it gets the statement, so it printed passed and it approached with break, so it stops. This is how fall through inside switch works. And let's see what is default case. The default case can appear anywhere in the switch block, but it is typically placed at the end for better readability. We can keep default at anywhere, either at the starting or in the middle or at the end. And within switch, we can take default case at most once, at most in the sense maximum one time. That is, we can take 0 times or one time. And default case will be executed if and only if there is no case matched. We know that. And if you see this example, I have taken default case in the beginning of the switch. So here, if I take x is equals to 10, so the case 1 is being matched here. The value of case 1 is 10, so it outputs 10. We can keep default anywhere. It doesn't raise any error. Although we kept default in the initial, it doesn't raise any error. We can keep this default in between both the cases also, but it decreases readability, but it works fine. If I run the code, it doesn't raise any error. So we can keep default anywhere. And we'll see some examples. If I take value as 20, it outputs 20 and 30 because the case 2 is being matched here, but after case 2, it doesn't have any break. So it goes with the case 3. And after case 3, it reaches end of switch. So it stops. So whenever I take x is equals 20, it prints 20 and 30. So if I run the code, the output is 20 and 30. And if I take x is equals to 30, it outputs as 30 because it's the last case. So if we take any value other than 10, 20, 30, it goes with the default. But after the default, we doesn't keep any break, so it goes with case 1 also. So whenever we take x is equals to 50, it prints default and also 10. If we run the code, here the output is default and 10. This is how fall through inside switch and default case works in switch. Now let's see exercise. Please pause the video and answer the questions. First question. What happens when a switch statement is empty? We saw that when a switch statement is empty, it executes fine. So option A, it causes a compile time error. No, it executes normally without any output. Yeah. Option B is the second question. What will be the output of the following code? Int x is equals to 5, switch off x. Here we have provided independent statement, a statement not under the case or default, so it raises a compile time error. If we keep any statement in switch, we should keep inside a case or default. We should not keep independently inside a switch, so it raises a compile time error. Third question. Why does the following code result in a compile time error? Int A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10. Switch off A, case 5, and case B. Here, under the case, the value is variable. So, we should not use variable as a case label. So, option A, case B is not allowed because B is not a constant. Yeah, option A is correct. As B is a variable, it is not a constant. So, it raises a compile time error. Fourth question. What will happen if there are duplicate case labels in a switch statement? It raises a compile time error because duplicates are not allowed as a case labels. We should keep only distinct values, not duplicates. So the program will throw an exception. The program will not compile. The program will not compile. At the time of compilation only, it checks whether the labels are duplicate or not. So option D is correct. Fifth question. What is the main advantage of the fall through behavior in a switch statement? Option A. It allows defining common actions for multiple cases. Yeah. Option A is correct. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe for more videos.